Hello crafty friends and welcome to my channel. I'm Adrienne Bosey of Alice Scraps Wonderland. Today I'm sharing my process of creating this travel themed layout with you. For this project I used the latest Tim Holtz and Sizzix vault release, including the Noteworthy and Floristry Thinlit sets, to create a tropical layout with a little hidden spot for journaling. I've got a bunch of the Noteworthy dies on my handy gotcha stand here, and I'm just going to remove the dies for the clipboard, which I won't need today, but be sure to check out my mini ATCs using these dies over on my blog. I'll be scrapbooking this photo of my niece eating ice cream while on a trip to Puerto Rico. I'm using Prima Marketing's Postcards from Paradise collection, and I've already pulled some elements from the collection and matted the photo. As always, I'll have all of the essential items used listed in the description box below. Now, let's get into the project. I'm starting out by die cutting a bunch of the Thinlits from patterned paper from Prima's Postcards from Paradise collection. I'm using both 6x6 and 12x12 papers. Wherever possible, I'm just using up scraps that have already been cut into. I'm also using a lot of the B-sides or backgrounds. These backgrounds are mostly a solid color with some printed texture to them. I cut the manila folder die from some pink background paper, then work on cutting a bunch of flowers and leaves from the Floristry set and a few of the Stay Wild Thinlit set. As you watch me do a bunch of cutting here, I just want to talk about a few of the products I'm using to help make the most of my papers and the items that help keep me organized. To die cut, I'm using the Scrapbook.com standard sized magic mat with my Sizzix Big Shot switch. I found the magic mat is less likely to warp if I keep it horizontal and centered on the platform, but you can also use the plus size magic mat with your Big Shot switch. These self-healing cutting mats from Scrapbook.com replace one of your plastic cutting pads, so you don't have to replace your plastic pads as often. I find that for me, these mats are great because no matter how much flipping and turning I do with my plastic cutting pads, I'm always warping them really quickly. Another item I use for die cutting is a low tack tape that helps keep your metal dies in place while sending them through your die cut machine. This allows me to get the most out of my cardstock and papers as possible. And finally, as I'm cutting everything out, I'm placing the cuts into some trays so I don't lose anything during the process. If you are enjoying this video and want more content like this, be sure to give this video a like and to hit the subscribe button. I try to upload a tutorial at least once a month, and by turning on notifications, you'll know as soon as a new video is live. As you can see, I'm now using the more heavily patterned A-sides of papers with the label and stamp dies from the Noteworthy Thinlit set. I think these make the perfect mini die cut ephemera. I also die cut from the Fern Green cardstock from Sizzix's Summer Surfacez cardstock pack. This includes some greenery from Floristry and Stay Wild Thinlits and the circular pieces that create a string closure from the Noteworthy set. Finally, I'm using the torn tape dies to cut the words from this 3x4 journaling card. Now let's get into the design and assembly of this scrapbook layout. I start by using some dotted adhesive to attach this envelope to the background paper. I then place some foam adhesive on the back of the matted photo, but don't remove the backing yet. I like to play around with the elements first to make sure I get everything placed just right. This ice cream cone was fussy cut from the 12x12 Postcards from Paradise paper pad, and I'm pairing it with a few pieces of floral ephemera from the same collection, moving the items around to see what placement I like best. Once I'm happy with the major elements that get placed right around the photo, I adhere the photo in place. I also pull over the manila folder that I die cut and fold it on the crease line so I can begin to dry fit it as well. I've got all of my flowers and flower centers lined up in this tray, and I want to go ahead and glue the layers together before adding more items to the layout. I've placed my Sizzix Express glue into a smaller bottle, which is a little easier for me to use, and I work to glue the flower centers onto the flowers from the Floristry set. I place an acrylic stamping block on top of the glued layers to help press them into place as I work. Then I do the same, gluing the green patterned circle element to the green cardstock layer to help create a more sturdy envelope closure. I only ended up using one of these circle elements in the end. Now that all of my die layers are glued together, I can begin gluing ephemera and die cuts down to the layout. I use adhesive foam of varying thicknesses, as well as my Sizzix Express glue. And of course my camera ran out of space. Luckily I didn't get very far. I just glued down a couple pieces of ephemera. Now that I have some of the ephemera pieces in place, I start adding some of the floral die cuts here. I like to create natural looking clusters of embellishments, so I'm focusing on creating a little L shape around the bottom right of the photo, placing leaves and flowers in an organic way. On the left side of the photo, I'm using the folder to help dry fit some flowers. I want to make sure that nothing is in the way of the folder so it can open easily. To help keep the folder closed, I'm using one of the circle pieces, attaching it with a brad, and gluing some baker's twine to the back side of the folder. I pierce a hole through the folder using my die pick and then attach the circle with the small brad. I glue the folder to the layout with the roller adhesive, wind the string around the circle, then cut off the excess string. I then work on gluing together the last few other elements, including this little globe, a label, and making this little paper clip thicker and sturdier by adhering 2 layers together. On the inside of the folder, I add some more ephemera from the Prima collection, and I glue the little clip in place to the top of the folder. I've cut a piece of white cardstock to fit inside this folder, and I'm going to add some journaling to it later. On the outside of the folder, I add the die cut Hello Summer pieces. Then I couldn't help but add some more labels and stamps to the inside of the folder, plus glue the little globe down to the layout. I add a stamp from the ephemera pack to the envelope and continue adding more die-cut elements to the layout. I honestly just love this creative play process, and I often just find myself going with the flow when creating like this. It's about creating organic shapes and finding a balance between positive and negative space. Once I'm happy with the ephemera and die cuts, I add a chipboard sticker below the photo with some foam adhesive. And finally, I add some pink fresh iridescent dewdrops. I start by dry fitting them around the layout, then I go back through and glue them all in place. And that's it. I hope you feel inspired to create a scrapbook layout using your Tim Holtz Sizzix dies. Until next time, happy crafting!